It's 11:50 at night, and you're standing in a hotel room. You paid $600 for holding a bottle of water you are not going to drink. There's a small card propped next to it. $9. Outside, it's raining on the roof of a parking structure. Your window faces the parking structure. Behind the headboard there's an ice machine, and every few minutes it drops a load of ice, like something falling down a staircase. $600. There is a line in your file at this hotel. It's shorter than the sentence you just heard. It picked this room before your plane landed, and nobody is ever going to show it to you. 6 hours earlier you were standing at the front desk. The clerk was polite. He typed your confirmation number, and then he stopped typing and looked at the screen for about a second longer than he needed to. "I'm not seeing any notes on your reservation." He said it kindly. It wasn't a judgment, it was a fact about a database. But you heard it the way you hear a doctor say, This is the first level, and most people spend their entire traveling lives here." You booked through a discount app because the app was cheaper, and you were pleased about that, and you were right to be. Here is what it bought you. The hotel does not have your email address. The app has your email address. The hotel does not have your phone number either. As far as that building is concerned, you are a room number with a departure date attached to it. Nobody carried your bag, because nobody was told to. Nobody was told to because there was nothing to tell. Upstairs you opened the room service menu and did the arithmetic that everyone does at this level. $40 for a club sandwich. You put the menu back in the drawer face down, which is a thing people do without ever knowing why they do it. Now move up one step. At the second level you stopped using the app. You made an account directly with the chain, and you have a tier now, and the tier has a medal in the name, and when you check in the clerk says welcome back before he says anything else. That sentence is real. The tier behind it is thin. What it gets you is a bottle of water that isn't $9, and a checkout time that's a little later if the hotel isn't busy. It's worth having. It also costs the hotel almost nothing, which is precisely the point. At the second level you are being tracked, not served. The chain wants to know your pattern more than it wants to give you anything, because the pattern is worth more than the water. And in the morning you go down for breakfast, and it's $38 a person. There's a couple 2 tables over eating the same eggs off the same buffet, and when they stand up to leave, they don't sign anything. Same hotel, same night, same rate on the room. Here's the part that's easy to miss. While you were upstairs deciding about a $9 bottle of water, there was a second conversation happening about you, and it had been going on for years before you ever arrived. In 2019, the Attorney General of the District of Columbia sued Marriott, arguing the company had spent roughly a decade advertising room rates that were not the whole rate. Filings later unsealed in that case put numbers on what the practice was worth. Marriott's self-managed resorts took in $66 million in resort fees in 2012, $82 million the year after that, $58 million in the first half of 2014 alone. Numbers like those almost never surface in a company's public filings because a mandatory fee is not a room rate, and that distinction is the entire reason the fee exists. The industry's own accountants tell the same story from the inside. When the hotel research group CBRE went through United States hotel financial statements, it found revenue from resort fees growing at close to 11% a year, during a stretch when actual room revenue was growing at under 3%. The thing bolted onto your bill was growing almost 4 times faster than the thing you thought you were buying. Regulators did eventually move. Pennsylvania fined Marriott $225,000 for missing a deadline to display its prices honestly. And on the 12th of May, 2025, a Federal Trade Commission rule took effect requiring hotels to show the total price, mandatory fees included, from the very first screen. That rule is a real improvement and you should know it exists. It also does exactly one thing. It makes them tell you the number. It has nothing whatsoever to say about which room you get, or whether anyone carries your bag, or what happens when you ask to stay until 2. The price got honest. The treatment never was. But it gets worse, and then it gets stranger. Third level. You're traveling for work now, 40 nights a year, and the room goes on a company card at a negotiated rate. Something changes, and it changes without you asking for it. You get moved up a floor. There's a lounge, and the lounge has breakfast in it, and at 6 in the evening it has wine. None of that happened because you're wealthy. Most people at the third level are not. It happened because your employer signed something, and a signature like that turns you from a guess into a forecast. A hotel can plan around 40 nights. It cannot plan around you, which is the first thing to understand about this entire ladder. You are not being rewarded for what you spend. You are being rewarded for being predictable. Fourth level, your own money this time. It's an anniversary and you booked a suite, and the difference is immediate and slightly disorienting. Someone comes out to the car. Someone knows your name in the driveway. A manager appears at your door in the afternoon for no reason except to say hello. You mention dinner, and the concierge picks up a phone and puts you at a table in a restaurant that has not had a free table in 6 weeks. That last part is the tell. The table was not available. It became available. Somebody in that building spent a favor on you, and favors are the real currency at every level above this one, and you don't have any of your own yet. Because when you check out, all of it stops. You booked a suite once. The file records that you booked a suite once. Next March you are back in a standard room facing a parking structure, and nobody at the desk remembers your face. The fifth level fixes that, and it takes years. This is your 9th stay at this specific building. Not the chain, the building. The general manager says your name before he looks at the screen. And that isn't a trick, that's just what happens to a human being who has seen you 9 times. And now the file starts doing something it wasn't doing before. Every property management system has a free text field sitting on the guest profile, and at the 5th level somebody actually writes in it. The wine you said something nice about last spring, the side of the bed, the pillow. And because housekeeping reads the same profile the front desk reads, those things are already in the room before you open the door. Stay with that for a second. You never asked for any of it. That's the whole product. Everything above this level is just money spent shortening the distance between wanting something and having to say it out loud. The 6th level is where it stops being about you at all. At the 6th level you do not book the room. Somebody books it for you, and that somebody belongs to a network the hotel already has a relationship with. Now the file fills up with things you never put there. You don't check in at a desk, you check in sitting down, in the room. The temperature is already set. The beer in the refrigerator is your beer. There's a credit for food attached to the reservation before you have ordered anything. Here's what nobody puts in writing. You are not paying extra for that. Advisors inside these luxury networks are paid a commission by the hotel. You book the standard rate, the same rate sitting on the public website, and the property pays out of the same budget it would have handed to an online booking site anyway. The upgrade is not a gift, and it is not a secret. It's a rebate, routed through a person instead of a platform. The banks run the identical play, and they publish the terms. Book through American Express and its luxury hotel program, and the property hands you a package the company values at an average of $550 for a 2-night stay, across more than 1,900 hotels, and it includes breakfast for 2 and a 4 o'clock checkout that is guaranteed rather than hoped for. Go back to the beginning of this video. The 11 o'clock checkout, the $38 eggs. That is the same hotel. Very often that is the same room. The card that opens that door costs $895 a year, and it hands back up to 600 of it in hotel credits. 7th level, and the vocabulary changes. The suites at the 7th level are not on the website. You cannot sort a search page and find them, because they were never listed, and they were never listed because they are not sold to strangers. There's a person outside your door whose entire job for 3 days is you. The question stops being what's available, and starts being when would you like it. Nobody here is quoted a price, because a price is what you show someone whose answer might be no. And then the 8th level, which is not really a level of service at all, it's a different transaction. At the top, people do not book rooms. They take the building. 3 days, no other guests, the entire property closed to the public for 1 family, and 1 wedding. The kitchen does not hand anybody a menu. It builds one, and it builds it around dishes somebody's mother's mother used to make. There is no folio at the end, no line items, no mandatory fee, no cards slid across a counter at 11 in the morning. Now notice what just happened across all 8 of those levels. At the very bottom, the hotel had no file on you at all, because an app kept your details instead. At the very top, the hotel has no file on you either, because you are not a guest inside a system, you're the other side of a contract. Every single level in between is that file getting longer, and the industry is quietly rebuilding itself around the upper end of it. Through August of 2025, hotel data from STR showed luxury properties growing revenue per available room by more than 5%, while economy hotels went backwards by nearly 2%. Luxury and upper upscale were the only 2 categories in the country moving in the right direction at all. So the ladder isn't only something you're standing on, it's something being built taller from the top down. Now watch what happens. Everything you just heard describes a ladder you climb. Nights, years, favors, familiarity. That's the honest version, and it's how nearly everybody assumes it works. Here's the thing nobody at that desk is ever going to explain to you. The ladder has 2 entrances. Take Hilton, because Hilton published all of it. Starting in 2026, Diamond status takes 50 nights in a year. The tier above it, the new one at the top, takes 80 nights and $18,000 of spending. Marriott's equivalent asks for $23,000. 80 nights is most of 3 months of your life spent in hotel rooms. Or you can apply for a credit card with a $550 annual fee, and Diamond arrives with the card. No nights. Nothing earned. Marriott sells a comparable arrangement for $650. Same tier. Same lounge. Same upgrade list. Same face on the same clerk. One door costs 80 nights and $18,000. The other one costs $550 and a credit check. This is not a story about being cheap. This is not a story about failing to know the right people. This is not a story about hotels being run by unkind human beings. This is a story about a filing system built to be written into from the outside, by anybody willing to pay the toll, and about how carefully nobody ever mentions the toll booth. 2 people. Same city, same income, same 12 nights of travel a year, same hotels, same rates on the same rooms. One of them climbs. One of them walks through the side door. Follow them both. The one who climbs does it properly. And I want to be careful here, because he is not a fool, and this is not the part where I make fun of him. He picks one chain and he commits to it. He takes the connecting flight, so he can stay at the right property. He adds a night in a city he'd otherwise have left on Thursday. Some Decembers he's 4 nights short, and he books those 4 nights. And he knows exactly what he's doing when he books them. And it works. That's the part nobody tells you. He gets the lounge. He gets the upgrades. He gets a decade of travel that is measurably better than yours, and at the end of it he has 100 mornings of good coffee in a quiet room high up over a city, and those mornings were real, and nobody can take them back off him. It also costs him the annual fees, and the qualifying nights he would never otherwise have taken, and one thing that's harder to see, which is that every dollar he spends gets steered toward the one program, including the dollars that would have done more good somewhere else. The other one changes nothing about where she goes. Same 12 nights, same cities, same hotels, frequently the same room. She books through the channel instead of the app, so the file fills up before she arrives, and the money she isn't spending goes into a brokerage account on the same day every month without her having to think about it. Say the gap between them is $2,000 a year. Say it grows at 7%, which is an assumption and not a promise, and I'll come back to that in a moment. After 10 years, she's at roughly $28,000. After 20 years, around $82,000. After 25, about $126,000. And she stayed in the same hotels the entire time. There's a version of this video that stops right there and lies to you. So here's the limit, out loud. 7% is an average pulled across decades, not a paycheck that turns up. There are taxes on the way out. The side door doesn't exist at every hotel, and at the cheaper ones it doesn't exist at all. The annual fee only cancels out if you actually use the credits. An enormous number of people never do. And the card companies have priced that in with great precision. And the man who climbed has a relationship with a general manager in a city he loves, and there is no line in any spreadsheet where you put that. Both of them got something real. Only one of them was told there was a choice. That line in your file. The one from the first minute of this video. Here's what it was. It was a rate code, and a flag sitting next to it, written the moment the booking was made, weeks before you packed. The room assignment procedure at that desk tells the clerk to read exactly that, along with your loyalty tier and any note attached to your profile, and then choose a room. He wasn't looking at you. He was reading. So take 3 things out of this. The first is factual. The way a hotel treats you attaches to your reservation record, not to the amount you paid. 2 people can pay an identical rate for an identical room and walk into 2 different buildings. The second is personal. Changing which door you walk through is free. Changing your budget is not. If you're going to travel anyway, the cheapest upgrade you will ever get in your life costs nothing except knowing that the second entrance is there. The third one is a feeling more than a fact. That room beside the ice machine was not a verdict on you. Nobody in that building sat down and decided you deserved it. A field was empty, so the system picked a room, and it picked the room it always picks when the field is empty. The $9 water is still on the nightstand. It was never $9 for water. It was the price of being the only person in that building nobody had written anything about. What's the widest gap you've seen between 2 people paying the same rate? I read these. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice, and it does not recommend any specific product, investment, or strategy. Figures described as examples are illustrative. Always do your own research and consult a qualified professional before making a financial decision.